is morning in Southeast Asia, and I am testing out this new thing. There we go. Sorry guys, it's be a little boring. I basically, let me see. Just testing out this new streaming software. I have no idea if this is going to work. Basically, I haven't done a live stream for a long time. And I was using StreamYard, which I don't know if any of you guys know, was the software that raised its price like last year, and everybody freaked out. And I freaked out too. It was like $20 a month. They raised it up to like, I don't know, like some obscene price. So let me see if this is actually working. Is Seth Jared actually live streaming? Oh, are you guys watching? Can somebody just type in a comment? Let me know if you can see this. I see myself on my phone. Yeah. Anybody, if you're watching, please just type a comment. Let me know if this is working. I am talking into the internet. And as always, feel free to ask me any questions. Yes, thank you. Okay, this is great. It's funny when the company raises prices like that. Hey, Trent, Chris, all right. Yes, I know this is working. Yeah, I just did an interview. Thank you, MJT515. I'm waiting for some food delivery. It's 9, 10 in the morning here. I just did like a interview with a student. It was amazing. He's running his own agency. He's making like $200,000 a year. Real estate agents are his clients. Really cool guy. He took my course in 2020, and now he's just killing it. So, anyway, hey Ross. Oh yeah, Ross. We published your interview recently, Trent. I'm just gonna stay on for a little while, guys. I thought as you can see, I just threw this together. I didn't like prepare anything. I just talked for 40 minutes with this other guy. Doing YouTube or podcasting, if any of you guys are thinking of doing it, you need to do vocal exercises. It is not easy to talk this much. I've already like talked out. But what would work best here is, since you're watching me, if you have any questions or any thoughts you want me to talk about, just type it in there. And if I don't see any, I'll probably just wind this down. But it's good to know that people can see me, and that this Restream, I'm using Restream, as you can there's probably a logo up there or something, because it looks like StreamYard got a bit greedy. Any thoughts on white labeling to get clients? How would I even go about doing this? Oh, you mean you'd offer the service to be white labeling? Well, Emilio, again, in the course, I recommend everybody start out very small. Have you gotten clients to begin with in the basic way? Like just one or two small clients? But yeah, obviously there's no harm in contacting an agency and seeing if they need any help. I recommend you do that anyway. That's just part of networking. Just let them know that you're available, whether they want to hire you to work for them, freelance, or handle some of their clients. That's all a good idea too. Could also contact white labeling agencies, agencies that do handle agency accounts for other agencies, and see if they have any opportunities. Enjoy my lunch. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. So yeah, sorry guys. I know you're just staring at me while I'm here. Maybe I'll show you the pool here. It's pretty nice. Well, it's kind of blown out on the camera there. Yeah, I haven't done too many videos lately. If you guys want to drop any topics that you want to see me talk about, feel free to put them in there. I was thinking of doing more like personal growth stuff. Maybe digital nomad stuff. Yeah. Sorry guys. So I used up all my talking this morning already. But yeah, like I think I said, I was thinking of branching into some other topics or just offer you guys more encouragement. Because I talked with this guy today, and he was great. He was super inspiring. This young guy, he's only 23. He's crushing it. He started my course when he was 19, and it was very inspiring to see. Awesome. Taiwo, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. That's great, man. Shoot me an email. Tell me about it. Yeah, I'll probably do more like interview stuff. I can't, when I do a live stream like this, I kind of, unless I have something I really want to talk about, I kind of rely on the comments here to keep me going. That's what you do, Emilio. You know, just chatting with people about digital marketing. You know, and if you're not getting results, you don't want to change your approach, and don't be too aggressive. That's what I tell people with digital. I mean, people are probably already getting hit up by agencies. The best success I've had and my students have, usually, you know, you go to a restaurant, or local business and just have a talk. I mean, whenever I move to a place like up here, I always get to know local businesses because I usually go to eat out a lot. Or maybe there's a place where I don't know, there's a lot of eating out. Like I like to go and eat at restaurants. I usually make friends with the owners, get into a chat and keep it pretty casual. But cold calling, I mean, the guy I interviewed today was saying how he started cold calling to get his first clients, and how it's a great experience to have that. If you're on Catchafire and you don't want to work on nonprofits, I totally get that. But if you get a client from Catchafire and they have that Google ad grant, just manage the account for a month, and then a lot of them, that's $10,000 a month. And then you can put on your resume that you've managed $10,000 a month. And that's very compelling. Let me see. Taiwo. I don't see it, your email. Oh, you did email me. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. That's great. Awesome. Tell me more about it. Sorry. No, I missed that. Except that it came to my personal email account. All right, guys. Forward to your next video. Thanks, man. What do you want videos on? Curious. Again, I'm going to kind of stick on this channel. I stick to digital marketing, and I'm probably going to do some mindset stuff. I've been thinking of doing another channel for a while where I would talk about all sorts of other shit that I don't talk about here. You know, I thought about getting into politics, but I think that might be like setting off a grenade. So I may not do that. But I did like talking. I think I told you guys, talk about relationships, personal growth, manifestation, confidence, self-esteem, happiness, attracting what you want in your life, attracting a great partner. That's what I'm kind of inspired by now, because I was able to do that. Trent, that is enough to start applying, man, as long as you use the resume template. As long as you've run ads, you have to remember, go back to the mind map, go back to the generate experience section. Not opt-in landing page. You do want to do, I would recommend doing a landing page, even your own, just get a couple leads. And then you can start applying, but remember, don't bulk apply. Put care into everything. Keep getting experience. The more experience you get, the more confident you'll be. But look at Cayenne's example in the course. I think it's in the generate experience section. Remember, he just used his own blog for his experience. You just got to own what you did. You do want to, again, if you're doing a PPC, you want to have run at least like a $50 campaign. It could be your own campaign. It could be for somebody else. Just getting that hands-on experience. But also, when I know you say you want to get a new job ASAP, I know this is tough. Remember, it's a relationship when you get a job. You're providing value. They're providing you with, opportunity. And it's very important to have that mindset when you're going out. Don't get into the mindset of, I need a job. Don't put out a needy vibe. This is anything in life. Focus on what you can offer. If you feel you need a little more experience to feel that confidence, then wait. If you already feel like you've got a sense of things, then go for it. Just the process of applying. Remember, applying is a process. You're not going to get the first job you apply to. And you need to really, oh shit, my food's going to be here. Just own that. But the thing is, if you need a job, I usually tell people, like, make sure that you're not like starving or that you can't pay your rent when you take the course. To have success, some people thrive under that kind of pressure, but mostly you need to have a certain level of relaxation, not relaxation exactly, but just like, you don't want to come off as desperate. And if I've interviewed people and you can tell if they like really need the job. You don't want to need the job. I tell people, get a part-time job doing something else if you have to, if that's something you're dealing with. Drive Uber, do something on the side, or even if you have like a temp job, just to make sure you have money coming in, you feel good about paying your rent, you feel good about your bills. You don't want to get into this process. You want to be in a position where you're thinking, I can offer a lot to you, not what can you give me? Alejandro, I used a resume template 5 years ago. Now I'm a senior e-commerce manager. Ooh, I like this. Making $140K. Just want to tell you, advice is really good. Looking back. Thanks, Alejandro. And congratulations. That's awesome, man. If you feel like sharing any more details, feel free to shoot me an email, seth@digitalcareerblueprint.com. That's awesome. Hold on a second. I'm going to leave that up there. I just got to check my food. Wait. Hello. Buddy grab. Yes. Okay. My Ritz crackers. My taste of home. I look like a Western gunslinger. Well, thank you. I have considered shaving and just leaving the big handlebar, but my girlfriend would not like that. My girlfriend actually is the reason I have the beard. She subtly suggested it, And now I really like it. I can't imagine going back. Any thoughts on Nick's course for those who have a job? Great idea. If you already have a job, guys, if you're in the course, Nick, who's my PPC coach, he took the course in 2017. He's run multi-million-dollar accounts. He's a great coach. He finally is putting together. Actually, he already has a mentorship program for people. Basically, if you already got a job, you're already working at an agency, and you want to level up faster, I would say take his training. And he's putting together a new advanced course too. Again, these are for people who already have a job. I highly recommend it. And Nick is such an incredibly gifted guy. He's so insightful. He's a great coach, and he's very humble. Like he's such a baller in this space. I mean, he's worked with Netflix and all these other huge brands. So working with him is like invaluable. So I definitely recommend it. What courses would you recommend to start your own agency or freelance work? I don't really have a recommendation on that. I am sorry to say. What I say, here's what I say. Do what's in the course. Get your own clients. Basically, our agency is just more and more clients. So when you learn how to get 1 client, 2 clients, 3 clients, then you learn how to get 4 clients, 5 clients, 6 clients, and then you have to, put together a team of people to manage and, fulfill the workload for those clients. But I can't really think of any right now off the top of my head. If anybody wants to put one in the chat. The thing about any of those courses, like what I don't like about, I've talked about Iman Godzi before, is that, he's got some good high level stuff, but he's really selling, I think, a very overhyped version of what it is to run an agency. In fact, I just interviewed this student today, Parker. He's making $200,000 a year. He actually had $200,000 in revenue this month. He's got 92 clients. He and his partner spent 4 years building this, and he is working his butt off. And I'm telling you, if you run an agency, you're going to work very, very hard. This idea of you're going to sit on a beach and just kind of let the agency run itself, that is not how it works. Go to any networking event and meet agency owners. They are usually very stressed out. It's not a bad thing. I mean, people, they love what they do, but it's a lot of hard work. Whereas the Iman Godzi thing is saying, yeah, it's just easy, just outsource it. Hey, I found these great, freelancers, and it's super easy to manage, but there's a lot more to it than that. Let's see. I am in Thailand. This is my favorite country, other than my home country of the U.S., which I love. But I left here. I lived in the U.S. for 40 years. I decided I wanted to see other parts of the world. Sabay di Mai. I'm good. I was in Ao Nang, and I have friends who started a remodeling business there. I feel it would be an awesome project. Yeah, man. Run your Google ads in Thailand. It's great. Cheap clicks. If you run it in English, you're going to probably hit those, foreigners, or run it in Thai to reach the locals. Call it. Thanks, Seth. I got your email. I'll definitely email me with more details. Great. Yeah, guys. So we have about 20. Yeah, guys, if you're watching, I said, if you want to ask me a question, feel free. I'm just testing out this new streaming software, thinking of doing some other live streams and talking about stuff. I think I mentioned this. I've mentioned it a few times. I'm thinking of getting into some other topics. Is there any other topics you guys want me to talk about in life? I've been talking about digital marketing since 2016, man. I love it. I want to talk about other stuff. And I do love, I love being an evangelist for it. I love sharing the message, even talking with the student today who's only 23 and just crushing it. It was so inspiring because he took my course when he was 19. I think I'm so inspired by people skipping college. I will say something. I'm going to try something. I never do this, but I think getting rid of the Department of Education is a great idea. I hope that it might trigger a few people, but I'm dude, it was created in the 70s by Jimmy Carter. It's not that old. It's not like it was created in the 1800s and it's like a pillar. it basically is, it is part of the engine of the student loan debt that is crippling our young people. And somebody said, it's not creating engineers and computer programmers and mathematicians. Most of those student loans are funding people who are studying BS topics, humanities things, paying, $70,000 a year now to learn very, very little, waste 4 years of their lives, come out in debt with no skills. There's all these blue collar jobs. There's all these skilled trades that are empty. Nobody's going to study those. And so, I'm always inspired when I see my students who have skipped college, started out at 19 or 20, and are just started working. This Parker started when he was 19, got an entry-level job, was making $60K by the time he was 20, and now he's, making six figures at 23. And it's not just the money, it's the growth. He's a mature, confident young man living on his own, building his own life. This is what I want to see for young people. There's so much more education you can get outside of school. I still get passionate about this. Mostly because, again, I hear this so much, like, oh, I have to get a degree after this. Like, dude, I think as a business owner too, you start to get really sensitive to waste. And when I see, like, the thing that's always gotten me about college is that I remember these classes and they're so overpriced and they're such a waste of time and they're so inefficient. I remember going in, you spend 2 hours in the lecture, everybody's falling asleep. I was like, dude, people are paying $5,000 a class, $7,000 a class to fall asleep during a lecture from some old dude who's tenured and can never be fired. And it's just ridiculous. Nick Battle. Nick is my PPC coach, Nicholas Battle. Yes. He is great. So that was my mini rant for the morning. I got to have my breakfast soon. I am, whatchamacallit? Yeah. I've been renting in a place like this. I'm on this island called Koh Samui, which is, if anyone watches The White Lotus, they shot that on Koh Samui. And I've been living here for 5 years. They shot it last year, and I'm just seeing it. It's crazy because all these places I go to every day are in the show. Well, not the Four Seasons, but like all over the island. But this is a tourist island that is blowing up, so that means you kind of have this the housing prices are very high for Southeast Asia, kind of competitive, and there's a lot of the landlords aren't always that great. So we've had some problems in the places we've rented, which is a good opportunity to practice meditation and staying centered. But no, this place is really nice. Emilio, I haven't got my first job, but I will never give up. Dude, that is the right attitude. And listen, Emilio, send me your resume, send me your LinkedIn. Make sure you're getting on the coaching calls. The thing is, I like to look at your guys' resumes to make sure you're doing it right. I know there's a lot of information in the course. It is sometimes someone will have done the resume perfectly and they are still having a slow time. But most of the time, there's some element of the resume or the LinkedIn or the experience you're generating that isn't quite where it needs to be. Remember, I said you don't need to have a ton of experience. You just need to have some experience. Took your course a couple of years ago. I just finished Google marketing and got the certificate. I feel your course is more authentic. Thanks, man. I don't know if you signed up a couple of years ago, you still have access. You should come back. It's being updated. Remember, it's very, very different. The Google certificate program, I've been meaning to do a video on it. I know I get that question a lot. I've been busy. And the Google certificate is just not an in-depth training. It's very, 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 very superficial. Now to their credit, they have updated it a little bit since I did a video a couple of years ago. I know they've added in, for SEO in particular, I think they added in a little more details, but it's nothing. And again, it's like, what is it? Like, it's either free or it's like $30. It's not a full training program. It's like, hey, this is what PPC is, maybe, if that. They're not going to teach you about keyword research and the details of setting up an account. And also, again, it's Google. They're not going to give you the real, Google's job is to get you to automate everything so they make more money. So yeah, it's a very different program. Paul, if you're in the course, Paul, email at seth@digitalcareerblueprint.com. Hit up Chiang Mai. I taught English there, and people are so much nicer than in the South. I will say, I love the North. The only problem is they have this burning season. It's really terrible. I mean, every country has its problems, but because it's cheaper, the farmers burn all their crops in Southeast Asia every year from like February till June, and it's unlivable. The air quality becomes toxic. And that is terrible, because I wanted to live up there, but I just couldn't do it. But I do like to visit up there. What percentage of graduates in the last tribunal? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. You guys, people ask me this question. I'm happy to answer it. I can't it's an online course, right? So people buy anonymously. Sometimes people buy with fake names, just like on YouTube, you have a nomer like Mr. Money Helper. I don't know your real name. Some people never, ever reach out to me. But I will tell you is that just in general, even if you go on Amazon, if you look at the number of reviews for an Amazon product, that is usually like 1% of the people that actually bought it. If you look at the number of testimonials I have, that is a very small percentage of the people that actually got jobs. Because think about it, most people said, don't take the time to write a review or to give feedback. And of those who do, not everybody wants to get on YouTube or Instagram. I mean, can you blame them? I mean, to be public facing is really a big deal. I really appreciate it when people do that. What I'll say is that you can just look at the overall, numbers of testimonials, and there's a lot of people getting hired. And everybody who's in the process is, in the Facebook group, they're active. I had one student like Hannah. Hannah's a great example. If you look on Instagram, look for Hannah. She was willing to let me post her, her written testimonial, but she doesn't want to go on YouTube, and I totally respect that. It's okay. I think it's okay for me to mention her, but there's a lot of people like that. And Hannah was a great example, because it took her about 5 or 6 months, and she was going through some processes where she was getting discouraged a little bit. I mean, she had a great attitude the whole time, but it was discouraging. But she kept going. She learned every time she had an interview or did an application, and then she got hired. So it's a process. It's vague and so HR sounding, if you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean, Benjamin. Maybe you can clarify. I love the Samantha Warren interview. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Thanks for telling me that, because I'm talking with her tonight. Yeah, she's great. She's the real deal, and I think that you find, I think the people who are actually doing agencies, some of them have YouTube channels, but again, the reality is it's a lot of hard work, and it's very rewarding. I mean, she's so great. She's running her agency. She is. I think she told me she's in South America right now, or Central America, and she's just always traveling, and she's living that lifestyle. But she's definitely working, man. I mean, I was friends with, I remember watching her get on a call, and it was really interesting. I've joked about it. I don't know if I joked about it in the interview, but we were just having a casual dinner, laughing, having fun. Then she got on a call, and she just went into boss mode, and she was like, "Okay, no, you need to do this, this, and this." That's impressive to see in somebody in their 20s, I think. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the interview. Paul, you completed the course doing SEO. Great. Oh, my girlfriend's calling. Hold on. She is in Bangkok. Hold on a second. Call you back. Doing live stream. LOL. Is the course okay when you have a part-time or full-time job on the side? Absolutely. Most of my students, I mean, you're probably going to, right? You need to live when you find the course. It's self-paced. I made it that way on purpose. You can, some people do a half hour a day. Some people do 3 hours a day. If you're unemployed or you're a student, maybe you have a lot of time, but you can do like half hour a day, and it's all at your own pace. Absolutely. And if you have a full-time job, what I usually recommend is that when people are going to get you're going to get that freelancing experience to begin with and build up your confidence. And then you can either just keep freelancing to supplement your existing income, or once you build up enough experience, then you can start applying for those jobs and decide, a lot of people get a job offer from an agency and then just leave whatever job they're currently in. Do I miss the USA? I do at times. I got to say something about that. It's a great question. I like talking about this stuff. I was away from the US for 4 years, and I went back in 2023, and I really, I went there to see my family. My godmother was sick, and it was really great to come back. And then from 2023 and 2024, all my connection to the US was through the internet, which what allows YouTube and the news, which is everything on YouTube and on the news is polarizing. So I had this impression that when I got to the US, it was going to be like civil war. I was like, oh my God, I got to be careful. And I got back, and it was great. Everybody was, it was like normal. It was my home. It's where I grew up. And I remember I brought my girlfriend who had never been to the US, and it was super exciting. And I was like, seeing it through her eyes for the first time. And I was like, this is amazing. We were in LA. She just was blown away by the size of everything. I mean, honestly, people who come from Europe cannot believe how big the car is, and just everything in the US is so big. And everybody was so friendly. That was the other thing. I spent 2 months in Eastern Europe, and everybody's great, but it's very different culture. And when we were just in Portland, Oregon at a hotel, you'd walk down the hall and people would smile at you or say hello. And I got kind of weirded out because I'd spent 2 months in Eastern Europe, and even my girlfriend was like, she's like, what's wrong with everyone? Why are they so friendly? And I was like, oh, it's just Americans. They're just friendly. I'm sorry, we are. You don't realize it till you go to other parts of the world. And I'd say the same thing about Thai people. Thai people are very friendly as well. But just, yeah, I'm coming back again for a couple months. I like to visit. I really enjoy living overseas, but yeah, I do miss it. I miss, the nature. I'm excited to go back to my hometown and swim in some lakes. There's just so much beautiful scenery, and I don't know. Yeah, it's really a trip to get out of your own country. I recommend everybody do it. Being around, I'm around people that speak English because there's a lot of Europeans here, but everybody's from Europe or a different country. When I meet another American, I definitely feel a connection. Thank you for asking. Oh yeah, Google Digital Marketing course. Yeah, it's the Google Digital Marketing course is very basic. And Hannah, there's Hannah. You're welcome. I'm here if you ever change your mind about doing that interview. But if you guys go on Instagram, there's a great testimonial there. And Hannah was awesome. She kept her chin up, great attitude the whole time through. And she got, I was very happy for her that she got that job. Emilio, sounds good. I will check out your email when I have time. I miss the Philippines. Don't know if you visit there. Recommend Boracay. Yeah, I was in the Philippines in 2017. I went to Palawan. Beautiful, 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 amazing beaches, like out of a video game. Unbelievable. I have a good friend who lives in Davao City, and he's been wants me to come visit. So I'm definitely thinking of it. Just emailed you. I love talking to you guys. I'm going to have to eat soon. Don't know if you have a DM question, but I know you like movies. One actor you represent was the guy that played John Connor in Terminator 3. I don't know. I don't remember who that is. Was that? Oh, what's his name? But thank you. I don't know who that is. Nick Stahl? Thanks for the shout out on that. I don't know who I look like, but I do love movies. And I remember Nick Stahl. I remember him being in, I can't remember what else he was in. But the Terminator series is one of the franchises I don't know that much about other than the first 2 movies. But I appreciate the shout out. Yeah, I could probably do a whole other podcast. I mean, I have my first business online was Film School Secrets, which is all about filmmaking. I was teaching people how to make movies. So I love talking about that. Nick Stahl. I'd love to be John Connor. Come with me if you want to live. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, anyone has any other questions? I'm going to wrap this up. John Connor, Nick Stahl. I'm trying to think of if he was the guy. No, it was the guy the guy who played John Connor. I think it was Eddie Furlong. I think was the guy, one of these child actors like messed things up or he got into drugs or something. So he wasn't able to play that character anymore. Can you keep posted when you will be doing this? I think it's cool that you come on and speak to students and protect students. You know what? I appreciate that. I will think about that. I've definitely enjoyed not having a commitment or a schedule around these and kind of just doing what I want, but I can see how this would be like doing it regularly is something I definitely might consider, or at the very least, I could post it in the YouTube community or in the Facebook group. Yeah. This is my favorite question. Is digital marketing major even worth it in college? No. No, you'd have to show me the exact curriculum, but I have never seen a curriculum in a private for-profit university or even these like certificate programs that has been of any real value. First, you got to look at like who's teaching it. What are the outcomes? That's what I always ask these colleges. Say, okay, this looks like a nice curriculum. Well, has anyone gotten a job with this information? And they will never, ever have an example for you. But really interesting example is Full Sail. I think I ranted about this in another video. Worst, don't go to Full Sail or any of those, dedicated digital marketing programs. They have such a backwards thing. First of all, remember, guys, I think college in general, I know I'm repeating myself, be very, very careful. The ease of getting a student loan is so seductive. It's like crack. It's terrible. You guys, 18, 19 years old, you've never earned $1. And they're like, yeah, you can take out $60,000 in loans, no problem. You have to pay that money back. And that right away should be a huge red flag for anybody. The thing about a major is that you guys don't understand. I didn't even understand this when I was in school. A major doesn't mean anything. That means that maybe you take 4 more classes in a particular topic. But if you're getting a bachelor's degree, you have this foundational nonsense you have to learn. And I've done videos where I go through marketing curriculum, and it's like, you got to take macroeconomics and, earth science and, the history of German literature and all these unrelated humanities courses that have nothing to do with digital marketing. And then maybe you'll take like 2 marketing courses and they call that a major. But again, most of these college courses are not practical. They're not hands-on. I've even seen, this blows my mind, guys. I'm so hungry, but I'm still going to tell you this. One of these university programs has a simulator. They probably spent like $10 million on this thing because that's how colleges are. They waste money. It's like a simulator. It's like this system. They're like, wait, this advanced software to simulate a Google Ads campaign. And I literally thought it was a joke because I was like, dude, my students get hired because they literally just go and spend $20 on an actual Google Ads campaign. A real $20 Google Ads campaign is worth more than any of this theoretical nonsense you're going to get in college. I mean, I've seen some of the weirdest stuff in there. I've seen marketing majors tell me they had an assignment that was like, if you were CFO or CTO of Apple, what would your next like product release be? And I'm like, okay, guys, if you go to a job interview where your job is to manage local car dealership advertising or some other real business, and you're like, well, I've never touched Google ads, but if I were the CTO of Apple, this would be my next product design, they're going to laugh at you. It is so absurd to even think about that. I mean, as a thought exercise with your friends, sure, of course, imagine that you're CEO of these big companies, but it's not valuable to learn in a college program. So no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Any thoughts on AI being the next big search engine potentially passing Google? This is an exciting time, guys. Could happen, could happen. Although I'll just point out a couple of things. Number one, I like to use Grok. I think it's fun. And it's still pulling in its information from like third parties, whether it's Twitter, obviously it's Twitter based, it's pulling in information from maybe Google or other search engines. I don't know what ChatGPT is doing right now. I don't know if it has direct web scanning itself or if it's pulling in data from Google. But here's what I'll say. Google has spent the last 20 years becoming part of our lexicon. It is still, I think, what the average person is using. I still think it also has like the maps function for local searches. That's something that if an AI has like a map function that can give you turn-by-turn directions to a place, that could be a threat. That's a big part of their search. But here's the thing to remember. You don't have to worry, because if we wake up in a few years and nobody's using Google and everybody's using Grok and ChatGPT or whatever for searches, that's fine, because there will be advertising there. Okay, none of these platforms can exist without advertising. Right now, Grok is like, Elon is subsidizing it, and all the servers, they have like a huge server farm, and OpenAI has all this funding. Eventually, they got to be profitable, and they'll be advertising. And then if that was to happen, suddenly Google ads, now we're going to move over to this new advertising platform, and that's where the jobs will go. So that's how I look at it. But honestly, I haven't looked at it, obviously, and also I think Google's doing a very good job of integrating AI into their search results. So the real question is going to be, and we've added some information about this to the course, which is going to be, how will search engine optimization change because AI results are getting so much, that's what people are looking at when they type in a query, the AI search results. But again, it's all evolving. I mean, people have been saying like SEO is dead, Google is dead for 15 years. Hey, I bought the course. Looking to freelance, where should I look into? If you're in the course, you got to follow all the instructions, man. Go through the mind map, and then the section on getting clients is in the get free and paid clients section. But I definitely would make sure you go through the whole course. Don't just jump into I want freelance work. Make sure you have the whole foundation of how to do that. Let's see. State of remote work. It's mixed. Remote work, it's mixed. But I would say, again, industries like digital, maybe other industries are going back to the office, I think, I interview a lot of people, and people are still getting remote jobs. Some people are getting hybrid jobs. Some people I had a student in Australia, James, who had a remote job, didn't like being so isolated, and quit so he could get an in-person job. But again, it varies from industry to industry. I think in digital marketing, it's still very remote focused. These agencies want to keep their employees happy, and they understand remote work can be a big part of that. Other industries, maybe older industries, maybe there's less, remote, but I think it's still obviously very, very viable. How's the job market right now? The job market is good, man. The job market is always good. This is the thing. I mean, the stock market's down. There's volatility in the news, all this. This is all background noise. Companies are still spending money. People are still buying things. Even if it's the other thing I was thinking about, I was like, what if there's a recession? I was like, dude, do you understand how, and I'm talking about the US, but the major Western countries have huge economies. The US economy is like $30 trillion a year GDP. It's obscene. It's huge. So if there's a little slowdown, there's, it's not like the Great Depression where people are, it's not like, 30% of the workforce is laid off. These are small percentage points. It's like, oh, unemployment ticked up 0.2%. The ad spend, ad spend is down, 0.5%. Last year, Amazon did, every year their Black Friday breaks new records. It's 8 billion. Then next year it'll be 10 billion. And then the other thing is, guys, remember, just ups and downs. Things are, people are concerned about, the administration and what they're doing with tariffs and these things. And I'm like, dude, things always go up and down. So if things get really, really bad, number one, they still have very high interest rates. They're going to lower the interest rates at some point. And when they lower the interest rates, then people can borrow more money, and then people spend more money, and there's more growth. But right now, everything we're talking about, interest rates are so high. I went to, a friend of mine is in real estate, and the mortgage rates are like 7%. It's like crazy. That's what it was when my parents bought a house in the 90s. So even right now, everything is still very throttled, and there's still a ton of jobs. I think it's just going to continue to grow. And if it's slow, that's okay. Again, we're talking about like, okay, now you have to send out, 50 job applications instead of 30 job applications. Just keep at it. I reside in Thailand. David asked me. Thailand. Or as they say in the hangover, Thailand, but it's actually Thailand. I'm pretty sure you answered this, but it's a lot easier to get on-site hybrid job than a remote one. It's not easier or harder, man. It's half and half. I mean, I said every place this is the thing about remote versus in-house that I think another perspective to think about. Some companies like in-house because maybe they have a little more control over their employees, but think of how much more profit a company makes when they go remote. Especially if you're based in a city like LA where real estate is so expensive. That's something a lot of these companies realize. I thought it was funny because I know Elon talks about he wants people in the office. He hates remote work. I don't agree with him on that. But then you saw there were all these government, buildings that had leases and there was no one in there. I think people got a little bit confused about, what is the root cause of remote versus non-remote. And I was saying is that some companies want to have an in-house culture. Some people have a remote culture. Some companies thrive on it. They have a very strong connection via Zoom meetings, and they like giving their employees that freedom. But at the end of the day, the people running the company are not paying for these leases. They're not paying for the leases. That's a lot of money. I mean, you could be talking about tens of thousands of dollars a month just in having the office space, all the equipment, the electricity, all the other things for an in-house thing. So it's both. But what I will say is that if you find an agency that is located in a smaller city, I think Raleigh, North Carolina is a great city for digital marketing. You might see, I think, Tampa Bay, Florida. Some of these cities, if they decide that they want in-house, then their pool of talent is so small. That's when you can come in and you're really going to stand out. That's what I like to tell people. And if you're willing to move there, I have had students who've moved places for jobs, and that's an option too. I remember the student, a testimony of a student who was a forklift driver and able to get a DM. Yeah, man. People with blue collar jobs, no college degrees, every background you can think of, you can learn these skills, provide value. And again, they're not teaching this in school. Everything is ridiculously expensive in the US. Yes, it is definitely very expensive in the US. But I have to say, when I visited, I did find if you live in LA, for example, it's just absurd. But when I was in my hometown in upstate New York, I was like, oh, okay, it's a little more expensive, but it wasn't as bad. Remote work is the dream, but I feel like I would benefit from being in an office and being a sponge to pick up as much as possible. Absolutely, man. I've had a lot of people who say that. I think there's a lot to be said. I think some people love, what they love is the hybrid, because it's like 3 days a week you're in the office, then you have 2 days working at home, and it's this perfect combination. Personally, I know, having worked for myself for 9 years, it's challenging to work remotely. I mean, it's not as, I'm not complaining, but I'm saying it has its own challenges in terms of structure, in terms of potential loneliness and isolation. I, loved it when I was trying to start my own business back in 2013, and I got a part-time in-house job. I loved it. I loved just being around people. And, I said I had that student who was working remote and wanted to be in an office. So yeah, there's benefits to both. And thank you for taking the time. Emilio, you're welcome. I'm still talking after 50 minutes, but that's okay. I don't have a huge schedule today. What is your Thailand visa? Here's the thing about Thailand. I'll tell you guys. I have the elite visa, which I purchased in 2020, and they've actually raised the price on it. It's basically, it's like a 5-figure visa, basically. But if you break it out over time, basically it's like I'm paying $100 a month to stay here with absolutely no need for visa runs or anything. Thailand's very smart about that. Thailand has a new visa called the DTV. My girlfriend has that. And this, I wish I had known, I would have bought that one instead of the one I got. Although I love about the elite visas, again, there's no headaches. I was so tired of dealing with immigration. And honestly, the tax savings that you get from being out of the US for most of the year will offset the cost of any of these visas. That's how I looked at it. But the DTV visa, digital something, I think it's called. Basically, if you're a remote worker or you have a digital job, like my girlfriend does, you just have to show them that you have a certain amount of money in the bank. And then you have to go through this elaborate process of, she had to apply for it from Taiwan, but then it's a 5-year visa. And it only cost about $300 or $400 for 5. It's amazing. So yeah, and visa runs are a pain in the butt. Any tips on applying for an SEO role in a marketing agency? I'm from LA. I think it'd be a great first job. I mean, it's all in the course, man. So, since you're in the course, did you go through all the sections? Did you go through all the SEO stuff? Did you go through all the LinkedIn and resume and interview stuff? That's where all the information is. So I don't have a tip per se. I don't, people ask me for tips and I'm like, that's why I put the course together. But if there's something in the course that you don't understand, or if there's something you've been trying and it hasn't been working, then you can, that's where you email me or post about it in the Facebook group, or ask one of the coaches on a coaching call. Ask Ivy about it for SEO. Whew. All right. I don't get like Joe Rogan and some of these other podcasters do 3 hours. I'm like every other day. It's crazy. I need a haircut. It's a big difference. Okay, guys. Well, I'll just do a last call here. Donald, hey man. Donald's one of my original students who I met back in New York in it's my air conditioner in 2018, and now is working at an agency, right, Donald? Actually, we need to do an interview. Anything else before I start my, as I said, I've been thinking of doing a Seth Unplugged channel or something where I would talk about other topics. Somtam or Pad Krapao. I have never really had somtam, honestly. I think it's like a salad. Is that but I love Pad Krapao. But not too spicy. Too many chilies. Favorite Joe Rogan podcast. Favorite one. I don't have I gotta be honest, I don't have the patience to listen to entire podcasts. But I do like him. I've always, I think it's funny if people who don't actually listen to him and I have a good impression, but I think I like, I kind of like it when he has scientists on or people who are really doing cutting edge health stuff. And That's a good question, man. I'd have to think about that. But I did like the Bill Murray one he just did. It was cool to see Bill Murray kind of just talking about stuff. And you're welcome, Paul. And yeah, Donald, I'm very proud of you. You've done a great job. Definitely, yeah, let me know how it's going with that agency job too. And yeah, like I said, guys, I'm thinking of starting a new channel or expanding this one. The thing is, I know this channel focused on digital marketing, and that's kind of how I've run it. So I didn't really want to talk about too many different things, other than maybe mindset or some encouragement or some perspective for people. Any good movies you've reviewed recently? You know what, dude? Movies are just on a decline. It's just unfortunate. I can't think of a single good movie, but TV shows are the medium, I'm watching 1923. I watched Landman. I love those Taylor Sheridan shows. White Lotus. This watch is what they call a Tesla watch, not Tesla, Teslar. And it is an interesting brand. It was bought by Timex. It actually has a little chip in it. I'm into this kind of thing. It has a little chip in it that's like a grounding. And I did some muscle testing a few years ago, and I noticed that like when I'm around my cell phone or other electronic devices, it really, it's like got kind of a calming effect. I'm into this kind of woo-woo stuff, but it's an interesting thing because they were kind of an independent company, and then they got bought by Timex. So they obviously were doing something right. I actually got this from, I think there's a website called, what is it called? It's a watch discount website. And it was interesting because it's a legit website. I had no idea they actually sell like watches at discount. What's it called? Ashford something. Yeah, movies. Yeah, it's a shame, because I like watching. I kind of go back in time and watch, 90s and stuff. But these TV shows are on another level, like Landman, 1923, 1883, White Lotus. I rewatched Mad Men in its entirety. Picked up so many more things than I did. It's interesting, guys. You should try like rewatch movies or TV shows you watched when you were younger and see what they're like now. You'll see so many different things. But yeah, maybe I'll talk about those things. I hope that the film industry picks up. They've been very stifled. Creativity has been stifled. There haven't been any good comedies, unfortunately. You guys can check out my comedy. If you don't know that, I made a movie called Wally Got Wasted. That's right. It was basically Weekend at Bernie's meets The Hangover. We shot it back in 2017. It's available for free on Tubi. Go to Tubi TV, type in Wally Got Wasted. And if you watch it, you will see me appear in the background many times because we did not have enough extras. But it is a really good, I'm very proud of this movie. We shot it for nothing. And it looks like a Hollywood movie because we had this amazing crew and we used the ARRI cameras and all that. See, Sheridan is one of the only good writers nowadays. I kind of agree, man. I mean, I looked at the Paramount Network and I was kind of blown away because I was like, he's got Yellowstone, 1923, 1883, Landman, Tulsa King, and Mayor of Kingstown. There's like 6 shows that are all, I think he did Mayor of Kingstown, but they're all, really, really good. Of course, the problem is, I mean, he doesn't do comedy, but there's comedic elements. But I do like the White Lotus. I didn't think I'd like it. I think it's really well made. It's a kind of a guilty pleasure. Thank you, Donald. I'll pimp this out here. Wally Got Wasted. I was very proud of it. I wrote the script with my business partner and then produced it. And honestly, producing a movie is terrible. I wish I had directed it, and I may yet direct. But either one of those things is a lot of work. I think writing is actually the most fun because you just give it to somebody and they take care of all the headaches. But it was a lot of fun, and it turned out it's a miracle we got it shot. Have you been to other countries besides Thailand that you liked? That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I was just in Europe. I visited my girlfriend's family in Hungary. Believe it or not, I liked Hungary. Um, I liked England. I would like to spend some more time in the UK. The UK is really interesting just because it's where America came from. So when I'm over there, it feels very familiar. It's just the weather is a little rough. I spent some time in Nice, France. I liked it. I was surprisingly liked Europe. I like my girlfriend's hometown in Hungary. I liked how they have a town square. There's these areas where there's no cars, no motorbikes. People are just walking. When I took her to visit the U.S., the one thing was we went to L.A. and she was like, "Where's the town center?" And I was like, "Oh, there is none. It's just big buildings and freeways." And that's something I missed about, even small towns. And I wish we had more of that in the US, is that kind of town center. But yeah, I know Thailand's really where I've centered myself. I like the Philippines. I like visiting there. Where else did we go? We went to Croatia, which is beautiful. It's got a beautiful coastline. Absolutely. Let me see here. I'm interested in your course. Oh, you remember seeing me in the subway seat in the house party scene? Yeah. Yeah. You can see me looking really stressed. Let's see. Seth, I'm interested in your course. I logged into it from Sri Lanka and I couldn't. Okay. So listen, man, I apologize for this, but the reality is that I have a geo blocker on the website because I get so many folks who are coming from India, from Southeast Asia, from other countries, that basically the problem is that I'm presenting a webinar and I'm talking about the US based jobs or Western European based jobs primarily, or Australian, Western countries. And I'm talking about those salaries, and I'm talking about 60,000 a year. And what happened is people from other parts of the world would see that and think, "Oh, I want to get a $60,000 a year job." And I get so overwhelmed with these messages over the years. I had to put up this geo blocker. And then if somebody asks me, I say, look, the issue is that if you're coming from Sri Lanka, you're not going to get hired by a US based company. There's labor laws. You can only work in a country if you are authorized to work there. So you can get a job in Sri Lanka, or you can get on Upwork or Fiverr and freelance for a Western company. And if you want to see my presentation or get the course, you have to use a VPN and just set it to Europe or the US. Fiverr is great, Upwork is great, but just understand you're not going to get one of these salary jobs. It's just, again, I'm American. I can't go to France and get a job. I need to get work authorization. If you're from Italy, you can't go to Australia and get a job. You need work authorization. It's just how these laws work. Is traveling, I like these questions, traveling to South America worth it? Some people love South America. I love Costa Rica. Is it worth it? It depends on what you're looking for. You should talk to people that watch some channels of people who live in South America or Central America. I'm sure they'll tell you it's amazing. And it's great to travel and explore your horizons. Personally, I just prefer Southeast Asia. I also do just culturally, it's just very safe here. This whole part of the world, it's just not, I go to Bangkok and everybody's got their cell phones out like this. And if you do that in certain parts of South America, someone's going to grab your phone, or in, certain other parts of the world. So that's one of the things I like here. Malaysia is also, I did like Malaysia. It's a different culture than Thailand. We actually went to an amusement park, a water park in Penang, which was very nice, very pretty. Kuala Lumpur I liked. It's definitely it's a different vibe in Southeast Asia than in other parts of the world. You got to actually go there and you'll see for yourself. Let's see. I'm still in Thailand. What do you like about Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines? Thailand, here's the thing, guys. When you said, I couldn't have predicted, because I came to Asia and I visited the Philippines. A friend of mine was here. And I like the Philippines. Although I was in Manila, and what happened is that after about a month there, I started to get like a lung issue because of the air pollution. And I just came to Thailand on a whim because there's this healing center up north by this guy named Montauk Chia. And I had no idea I would just like fall in love with the place. And I've heard other people have the same experience. Like they go to Vietnam and they just love it, or they go to the Philippines and they love it. Philippines, I thought the people are lovely. Everyone speaks English, which is wonderful. And the beaches are amazing. Vietnam, I haven't spent much time in. My ex-girlfriend was Vietnamese, and we went there in 2017. Vietnam was, the thing I have about this whole area is you really do have to be careful about air pollution. A lot of the cities are very polluted. And when we were in Vietnam, it was like I was coughing a lot. But it can, again, be a beautiful place. Great food. You know, the food, I love food in Southeast Asia. Philippines, food, didn't care for the food as much. But Thailand to me had everything. It had the nature, the people, the culture, the food, like, and just the vibe. And I think that's what you'll get when you go to a place. You have to go there. I am doing good. Mexico is cool. Colombia is sketchy. Yes, everybody has their own takes on different countries. I have not been to Colombia. I've only been to Mexico a couple times as a tourist. Sancho is going to get his ass kicked off here. What the hell, man? This is not how you conduct yourself on a call. I don't know. It's kind of fascinating. I don't know if you guys see the chat. Who would come on a live stream and say this kind of stuff? It's embarrassing for you, whoever you are, Mr. Troll. I'm not even going to hide it. Hold on a second, man. Time out. It's like we're in the 4th grade. I put him in timeout. Normally I would interact, but that's just like, it's like these days in politics, one thing that bothering me is people swearing or using that kind of language. Like, and I don't, you know, I like to swear when I'm talking, but I wouldn't walk up to somebody and be like, you know, say these things this dude's saying here. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know. He said, how sober are you? I'm sober, but I never drink. I just never liked alcohol. It's kind of funny. Sancho has trolled in the past. Oh yeah. Maybe he's the guy. There's one guy. I only had this happen one time where I tried to give him a second chance. I don't like to like cancel people, but if you're just being an asshole, it's like, what do you do? Sancho has trolled. Dude, you're a gay little buddy, Seth. Yes. It's so fun to spot a troll. I've been traveling domestically in the U.S., and it's been eye-opening, different culture. Yes, the U.S. is so big. There's so many different. Need a moderator to kick them out quick. I've never run into this. It's kind of like a fun new experience. Like trolls are like really like, you know, my channel, last year I took a YouTube coaching course, and my channel blew up for like 3 months. I was getting like 200,000 views a video. You saw I was doing all the side hustle videos. I learned a lot. What's funny is I got more trolls, and my friends who have really big YouTube channels have like all these trolls, and it's like, it's very hard initially to ignore, but that's what you have to do. Thanks for all the travel tips. Love the digital nomad guide on your channel. Would love to explore going to South America down the line. Yeah, man. People love South America. Just hit report. Yeah, I did. Again, it's different things. Like the problem is if somebody's just like, I have a little patience. Like if somebody's making a comment that people don't agree with, I'm not going to kick them out. But if someone's just being, you know, like basically like a 10-year-old, Also, I haven't heard anybody call anybody gay as an insult since I was a kid. That was like what you said. Now it's like 2025. I don't know. I'm like, well, my sexual orientation is such and such. Why would that be an insult? After seeing countries in the world, do you ever consider moving back to the USA, place for permanence? That is a great question. That is a great question. I am in a unique situation. My girlfriend, who I think is texting me, who I love, is from Hungary. So being a global citizen, I knew there was a big chance that I would meet my partner would not be American. Although I did meet a great American girl after her, and it's something you don't really think about. But the problem is that both of us would have to, like, if I go to Hungary, I have to deal with visa issues. She comes to the US, she has to deal with visa issues or citizenship. The funny thing is, both of us, Thailand is actually a place, the place where we can actually stay the longest without any trouble. So we love it here. The only problem is, our family's very far away. And as far as the US goes, I mean, I'm open to it. When I took her there, she loved it. That was cool. I'm setting up some roots here. I still imagine myself coming to Thailand very regularly, at least in the winter. I'm not a big fan of American winters or I just don't like the cold. But I never really found a spot in the US that I really loved. I mean, if I come back, it'd be mostly to be close to my parents as they get older. I like Northern California, but there's just so many, whether it's a tax issue, a cultural issue, or a wildfire issue, I kind of liked Nashville. But again, I didn't feel that like at home feeling, but it's definitely, on my mind. I really like what we've got going now, where we're there for 2 months a year, and in Europe 2 months, and then here 6 months or whatever, 5 months, whatever it is. I like moving around like that, but I do think, like if I have kids, then that's when you start thinking about that. But I've met some really inspiring families who travel with their kids, which is really, really cool. So it's a good question. Thanks for asking. My wife and I are thinking about vacationing in Thailand. I live in the islands, and the islands are really the beautiful thing. You might have, seen the pictures. The north is also very nice. It's more mountains. Bangkok is a huge, dirty city. It's great to visit. People love it. And I love it too. I say dirty because, again, it's very polluted. It's like very more than LA or New York. Depends what you want. But I'm a huge fan of the islands. Koh Samui, Koh Phangan. This is where you get it's like Hawaii. And so that's my recommendation. Thank you, Seth, for explaining. Let me see here. I'm going to just read that. You explain well about doing full online marketing agency. You can target small business owners and charge half price for limited service. Oh, and from Sri Lanka. Yeah, you can definitely, if you are living overseas and you have a lower cost of living, you can definitely, charge lower prices. I wouldn't go to rock bottom prices, but like see what the average is and do a little bit lower. And then, you make a good living. And if the customer's satisfied, then that's great. Did I get a big bump from collaborating with Shane Hummus? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it's where I get all my, Shane's just a monster on YouTube. He loves it. He's crushing it. And he's, we're friends, and he has seen the results and believes in my course. So he promotes it. So definitely. Muddy Buttle. Dude, you were asking like normal questions, and then you have to say something that like a freaking 14-year-old would say. No. What the hell? I don't know if I'm not going to block you, but don't say shit like that. It's obnoxious. It's immature. This is not quality coming out of your mouth. Someone else leave a comment. I don't want this kid's comment here. It's like, dude, like 14 or 12. I would say, I would make that joke amongst my friends, but I wouldn't do it on a YouTube video. putting you on a timeout. Okay. Thank you, Seth. I have to go. It's a bit late. You got it. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go in a minute, but fire off a couple more questions, guys. I enjoy answering these. And then again, you got these little turds in the chat. Oy, I gotta deal with them. It's like a mosquito. It's like, dude. The thing is, I love that kind of humor. I miss Ace Ventura, but I wouldn't like. There's different, like, I don't think that the trolls don't understand like social cues and social, I don't know, social connections. Where it's like there's an appropriateness level. Okay, you're gone, dude. Okay. Anybody else with a constructive comment? Not saying that. Any chance for a U.S. meetup down the line? I think it would be a good opportunity for old musicians. Oops. You know, it's possible. I mean, look, I plan to be in the U.S. for at least a month or two if I'm in a city where people are. You know, last time, the thing is that, like, I don't really like big cities. And last time I was in the U.S., I was just there for a week and it was just family nonstop. But if we're in New York or if we're in a big city and I have the time, then I would definitely consider it. I feel like Joe said, oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're posting a video, like, I don't read my channel's small enough where I still read the comments. And honestly, that's what I like. The channel's small enough where I have a very small troll percentage, like almost never. So I still get legitimate questions from people and I like those. But you know, when you get to a certain level, like with Shane, I mean, I talk with him and he doesn't read his comments. You know, you're getting just kind of you're getting into the public. Like when you're in the mainstream, that's when you're getting all the kind of crazy people. And I kind of like my little corner. I think everybody here is pretty cool. But no, it's interesting to learn to have to deal with it. You know, when I did my first film course, I got so much negative comments from people and it's such a great opportunity to get triggered and see where you're insecure and then, you know, stand up for yourself. And now I just look at this like, when I see those comments, it's like I'm looking at a 10-year-old. Like, so I don't want to. What do you do with a 10-year-old? I mean, like, I don't want to argue with the 10-year-old. It's like, you know, a 10-year-old making farting noises. And it's honestly, if we were talking about that, maybe it would be appropriate. It's just not appropriate. Yeah, I'd like to see. I like to see guys in person, you know, meeting up in person, definitely, you know, doing it virtually has its own rewarding. Hello, richest man. Hello, David. Hello, Jerry. I know I've been talking a lot longer than I thought I would. Did you enjoy working in-house? That's a good question. Agency or vice versa? I liked them both. The agency job, I mean, I had very low-key agency job. My boss was sitting right next to me, but I mean, half the time it was very relaxed agency environment and I liked the different clients. And I liked the community of guys that were working there. We go out to lunch, hang out and stuff. At the in-house job, I was a little more on my own because I was the only, you know, marketing guy, but that job had a lot more responsibility and more, I got paid more and I had more influence. So I liked that. Let me see. You are welcome. That's what I do. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. I like that. Have you done any dating in Thailand? I hope that isn't a bad question. No, man, it's not a bad question. I know most people are looking for digital marketing stuff. But again, I like talking about this. I will give you my, I have dated a lot in Thailand. I don't know where you're from. I would say, generally speaking, I became like a passport bro by accident. I didn't know that was a thing. I just knew that I wanted to visit Southeast Asia, and I really didn't even think about dating until I got here. And then when I started dating, I was like, oh, this is a very, very different experience. Thai women, Asian women in general are much more traditional. The culture here is very deeply embedded. You know, most of them are looking to get married. It's much, as a Westerner, dating here is really great and easy, in terms of like, you don't have to do a ton of work. Like, you don't have to come up with the most clever thing on a dating app. And I do think that there's a lot more family orientation here. That said, there's cultural differences, there's language barriers that, you know, you have to deal with. I dated a few different Thai women. My ex was Vietnamese, and I enjoyed it. They were great girls. I knew that because I'm kind of an intellectual. I'm a lot of an intellectual. I was like, I need like a really good English speaker myself, a native speaker. And it's funny because I ended up with my girlfriend is Hungarian, but her English is almost native. And I didn't plan that. You know, culturally, I think it's interesting when you're talking about like short-term dating. It doesn't really matter for long-term dating. I think it's interesting. There's a lot of, you know, I know a lot of Westerners married to Thai wives here, and they're very happy. There's just a lot to it. But I say I recommend most Western guys get out of the U.S. or get out of the West. If you're struggling in any way, you're going to have a very different experience. I'll tell you this: I went my whole life dating in the U.S., and it wasn't until I had a Vietnamese girlfriend that anybody cooked for me. It's not true. In my 20s, I dated a girl once she was a chef, so she cooked for me. But like, generally speaking, I'd never had anybody cook for me. Just a very simple thing. And she was like sitting me down, making this amazing soup. And I just like hit this very visceral thing in me as a man. I was like, oh, I felt really taken care of. And I realized, wow, this is really, really great experience. And it was, you know, I feel like in the US, it was almost offensive to ask if your girlfriend would cook for you. In that culture, it's shifted a lot. So definitely more traditional, but also in a funny ways. Like, I went on a date once with a Thai woman. She didn't even speak the much English, and she cut my food for me, which was very strange. I was like, I don't think that's normal, but it was, you know, it's definitely, you know, you need to be careful in certain ways anywhere you date, but I think it's worth it. Yeah, I have a lot to say about that topic, actually. I'm going to go to Colombia when I'm more stable. Yeah, Colombia, people like Colombia. The only thing I will say this about coming to the reality of coming to, I've always wanted to say this, and I guess since it came up. So I did experience when I was in the US, and this is very funny. It's like, when I was broke, I actually did really well dating in the US. I was doing really well. And then when I started to do a little better financially, for some reason, I just wasn't doing well financially with dating. I don't know, maybe it was a mindset thing. But I had a really hard time meeting women in the US right before I left. And it was very frustrating because I know I'm an outgoing guy. I've had a lot of girlfriends, and it was just like, I don't know, the dating apps. I didn't know all the games and how to do it right. And when I got to Asia, I mean, it was very refreshing to, just by being a Westerner, you kind of have status here. But along with that, the downside is that there is like, it's kind of flipping the script a little bit from the US and the West. I think women get attention in the West very, very easily, whereas men struggle. When you come here as a Westerner, you'll get more attention, but there's also some of that attention is cultural. Some of it's money. Some of it's that they see that you're from the West, whether you're white. It doesn't matter if you're white or black or where you're from. From the West, some people are going to assume you have money, and that can be a motivation. And you have to be careful because, you know, some guys are not used to getting attention, and then they get attention, and then they lose their judgment. But I found, like, I dated women who liked Western guys, and the women I dated, it was more like it was a cultural thing. Like it wasn't so much like, oh, I want to marry a rich Western. It was more like they had Western values, or they liked Western TV shows, and they just liked how the different cultural things. So anyway, that was my talk about dating for the moment. Moving to a new agency, good culture. I think I'm moving to a new agency for multiple reasons: good culture and good people. Underpay. Yeah, well, pay is a great motivator, man. And I'm just telling you, the unfortunate thing is that even in digital marketing, you'll find that people make more money by switching companies. So sometimes you have to remember, you're a free agent. This is a contact sport. This is capitalism. Don't expect them to pay you what you're worth. You may need to demand it. You can even tell them, I want to stay here, but you need to give me a raise. It's a really great practice to get into, demanding more money. It's very hard for most people. I had a problem with it too when I started out. When you know your value and you just make the request, the best thing you do, Donald, is get a job offer from another company and say, look, they're going to pay me $20,000 more. Can you match that? No, great. I have to go. It's just business. Let's see. So many more questions. All right, I'm building my stamina here for talking because I do enjoy this. Fletcher asks, oh, my body transformation. I had a great experience building muscle, and then I herniated a disc in my back because I overdid it. I was playing tennis 3 times a week, going to the gym 3 times a week, and I'm in my 40s, and man, I overdid it. You're in your 20s, you should be okay. It's going to help with the girls. I mean, look, being in shape helps with the girls, can help. I'll just tell you, dude, from my own experience, this is really funny. I'm skinny. I'm definitely not, impressing anybody with my physique. And I did the best in dating when I was broke. I remember unemployed, broke. It's hilarious. It's none of this conventional stuff. It's how I was being. It's like, for whatever reason, when I was broke and I was hustling, I had a certain vibe, and it was attractive to certain women, but I think it's good in general to get in shape for yourself first. And then, yes, it's a secondary benefit. I felt so great when I was working out all the time. Again, I kind of overdid it. Now I'm finally healed mostly, and I can do I'm finally doing like core exercises, and I'm so happy about that. So yeah, I have reverted to my kind of skinny self, but I'm working on getting back. What is the best software? It's so random. Best software for a PPC job? Oh, you mean the best operating system? Well, I mean, you can get Excel on Mac, but I'm a Windows guy. I don't think there's any real advantage in having a Mac unless that's what you want. Definitely not for PPC. Maybe for video editing and Photoshop and certain graphic applications. Hey, Alex, good to see you. Will AI replace Google Ads Manager? No, AI is not. Oh, you mean the job? I don't think so. I've talked about this before. There's a lot of factors and reasons for that. Number one, again, this is a complicated job that also requires discretion. I don't think any company is ever going to fully automate. If you're spending $1 million a month, I don't know anybody that would trust a computer with that completely. Because if there's a single glitch, you could lose $500,000. Nobody wants that. It's got to be human oversight. But again, when you look at the actual skill sets of, mostly I'm talking about paid search, Google Ads is still inside its own ecosystem. Whatever advances happen in AI in terms of reasoning and copywriting, blah, 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 Google's ecosystem is still kind of removed from that. It's still about creating ad copy and putting together ad groups and keywords and stuff. Google has tried to automate this and has trying to push their advertisers into their automated and AI systems. And that often backfires for the advertisers. That's why these jobs exist, because Google's like, hey, just trust us. We'll do everything automatically. But like I say, it's like asking the casino to do the gambling for you. Don't worry, we'll bet for you. You'll do great. It's not how it works. You need people to actually manage what Google is doing. And I don't think they will ever come up with they've been working on automating things for years. They're very good at automating for conversions once there's data, but it's not like whenever they have a system, and they've been doing this for a long time, where they say to an advertiser, just give us your website URL. We'll crawl the website, pull all your keywords, put together your ad copy, do everything. It always fails. It never works. So I think those jobs are still very, very safe. As far as SEO, I also think SEO jobs are safe as far as, technical SEO and strategy. But within SEO, things like copywriting, obviously AI is getting better and better at that. But I think that what's happening is people who are good copywriters use AI to become more efficient. It doesn't totally replace them. I hope that was the chair. Probably. I don't. I've been working as a junior account coordinator. Absolutely, man. I mean, you can move after 6 months. It's just about when you feel motivated. And make sure you have that experience on your resume. LinkedIn, start sending out those resumes, go back to the course, redo, everything I say, go to an employment agency, or find a recruiter. Yeah. Hoping to get a full-time job soon, but doing the freelancing and helping with family business with lead gen campaign and SEO. That's how you do it. Just get that initial experience, put it on your resume, and you will get that job. You got to be careful with tennis. Yeah, man. And, I think now I'm doing more core exercises and stability exercises, and you really need that as you get older with the twisting motions of tennis. Tennis is like I think they did a study. It's like tennis is like the best exercise for maintaining, I think, even mental acuity as you get older, because you got running, you got quick movements, and you have swinging and moving, and it's a great sport. Resistant bands are more safer and effective than weights. I do like resistant bands. I use a mixture. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, I'm pretty much like I'm so much better than I was last year. Unlearn Your Pain by Howard Schubiner. I really like that because so much of pain is in the mind and in how it's locked into your body. Chance of adding or reporting a PMAX section of the course, I think it's too advanced. Honestly, the course is already so jam-packed with stuff, and I like to leave that stuff to when people get their agency jobs. But possibly, I mean, there's a possibility of that. People have self-driving cars and still prefer driving cars themselves. People are a lot more comfortable when the actual people manage things. It's going to be very interesting next few years to see what gets automated and what doesn't. I personally, I don't know, maybe I'm just too old to trust a self-driving car. It could just be, look, when the car was invented, people were afraid of it. When airplanes were invented, people were afraid of it. Maybe the younger generation will embrace self-driving cars. I think, self-driving car for a long distance could be a good thing, but it'll be very interesting to see what shakes out in terms of what jobs people want. But I do think that there'll be a pendulum, like, yeah, everything will go AI, and then there may be a backlash and they want people back in certain things. Personally, I can't stand like AI, customer support. You just tell, even if it's maybe it gets to the point where it's really, really good. But yeah, I don't know. In 6 months, it may be completely lifelike. Any tips for finding recruiters who specialize in connecting DM? Yeah, I think I have a list in the course, but there's Creative Circle, Cyber Coders, 24/7 Talent. Just Google that. Google recruiting agency for digital marketing. I have some experience running Facebook ads, but my agency hasn't really taken off. Will employers be intimidated? I'd like to try again at building an agency. Listen, I don't know if you're in the course or not, but what I say is that look, I got my first job. My students get their first job, and they don't have any results. They just run ads, made some improvements, increased the click-through rate, got some leads. You have to just be in the application process. You're looking for companies that need people that just know what they're talking about. There's so many people in the public that don't have any idea what Facebook ads are. There's marketing grads who come out and don't know what Facebook ads are. So that's who you're competing against, and you can definitely get hired over them. You don't have to come into the agency with a huge track record for an entry. I'm talking about entry level jobs. If it's like a senior job, then yes, you'll need more evidence than that. Rolfie. Yeah. Thanks, David. No, my disc, my back is healed up, thankfully. Yeah, that's all healed up. It's just that, the muscles around it need work. Speaking of self-driving cars, that Elon Musk went to his office in SpaceX, so he and Trump could have. I don't know. I don't understand that. Yes, AI helps for production, but the human supervision important is for quality. Yeah, it's going to be. That's what I think is so interesting about everything that's happening now. Is it's like I worked at companies and I've seen it firsthand, which is why I think what's happening is actually a good thing. I've seen companies that have built their success or built their entire foundation on waste. Like I worked at this company, a $10 million a year company. It's just very, very outdated systems. People had jobs that shouldn't have been working there, that didn't have anything to do, or were just like kind of BS jobs. And I think the process of peeling that away is painful but necessary. And I think AI is going to be the same. It's like if you have a job that could so quickly be replaced by AI, it's painful. You'll lose your job. You're going to have to find a better skill set. But hopefully then it pushes people in other directions to see like, well, what can I do that AI can't do? Would learning some data analysis tools like SQL make a digital marketer stand more? So yes and no. There are some positions where that, yeah. I don't, SQL and these things are so dense that I wouldn't recommend that broadly to everybody. It's more like if you like SQL, you find it interesting, and you're ambitious, then definitely. But what I don't want people, it's like, I don't want people to think that's the only way to get a job, because most people, 90% of my students don't know SQL. But yeah, it could be a good thing to add. Does it make sense to work in agencies for a few years before transitioning to an in-house position? It's all about your comfort level and confidence. I worked at an agency. I only had about a year experience in an agency before I got my in-house position. It's all relative. Some people start out in-house. It's all about your confidence level and what works for the in-house agency. You might find a great in-house job, and you don't need to spend 5 years at an agency before that. All right, guys. I am winding down. If there's any last questions, I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. This is my this is my stamina training for talking, so I can do more of these and do more videos. Bit of a mindset question. Imposter syndrome. Oh, wow. Guys, imposter syndrome is, it's a clever term. I don't have like a 2-minute answer for you. One thing I can say is, get on YouTube or talk to a therapist or a coach about this kind of thing. There's so many tools available now to look at and say, like, why don't you feel confidence? Like, I would say write it down on paper. Like, are you actually capable? Like, logically, objectively, are you capable of doing the job you're doing or another job you're applying to? And if the objective answer is yes, then yeah, it is all mindset, and then it's a matter of like, my approach to mental health and meditation and spirituality is that, like, you have this ego. We all have this mind, this voice in our head that honestly bosses us around, and we've given it a lot of power. And the most successful people in the world are the people who've learned to get a little bit of distance from that voice in the head. because the voice in the head rarely has good things to say. You know, for some people who've created a healthy ego, it can be encouraging and be like, yeah, you can do this. But how many, you know, most of us, it's like saying you can't do this. And meditation, personal growth, this type of thing, or these types of podcasts, people talk about this, is about getting space between you and that voice in your head. Because the real question is like, again, okay, you know you can do the job. What voice is telling you cannot? And why are you giving it power? You know, I had to deal with this as I was growing up, you know, through my career. And that's why, you know, if you actually already have a job, that's your proof. And then this voice in your head, the imposter syndrome, is like, where's it coming from? You know, why do we give it so much validation? But there's a ton of, you know, podcasters and insights about this. I like Michael Singer. Check out Michael Singer. Jerry, Ian, you're welcome. Hopefully my food is. No, I just ordered like some Ritz crackers, but I'm about to cook my my breakfast. On average, how long does it take to get a PPC position within a year? I mean, ballpark number, it's between 3 to 6 months. I've seen over and over again. And again, it depends on how much time you can dedicate to the course. It depends on how well the student follows instructions, their personality. Some people get interviews, but they don't have the cultural fit. Some people don't follow everything I say. Some people are only trying to get a job in a specific area, which is limiting versus being remote. It varies. But yeah, I'd say 3 to 6 months. Okay, guys. I enjoy this, so maybe I'll do it more often. Thanks for all the questions. Trent, Jerry, all the guys, you're welcome. I appreciate the questions. Thanks for hanging out. And I'm going to end this. You guys have a great rest of your day or night.